Next topic. Chinese appoint new foreign minister who was the old foreign minister. Chinese foreign minister Qin Gang has been missing for a month. Suddenly, he was replaced by Wang Yi, who was China's foreign minister before Qin Gang. Qin Gang was considered to be a favorite of President Xi Jinping. Qin Gang was last seen in public on June 25 during a meeting of senior diplomats from Russia, Vietnam, and Sri Lanka. Despite speculations, Beijing has remained vague about his absence. Beijing has tried to explain his absence to unspecified health reasons. Qin rose rapidly through the ranks, from ministry spokesman and deputy foreign minister in charge of protocol and European affairs to the country's second-ranking diplomat. Qin was appointed China's ambassador to United States in July 2021 and 17 months later was elevated to a foreign minister and then state councillor in March, a position ranks above the cabinet minister. Wang, who is Qin Gang's replacement, was promoted to the Politburo, party's top echelon of power at the Communist Party's National Congress last year. Wang has been seen as the top Chinese official in recent meetings with former US Secretaries of State Henry Kissinger and John Kerry in China last week. The questions being asked are, where is Qin Gang? What happened to him? Is this removal of just Chinese foreign minister or a start of a wider purge? I think it's probably a start of wider purge because that's what it is. I think there was another central banker or some high level banker who was also replaced, but I didn't include it in the notes because he's not that important. So what is happening in China recently? The real estate is in bubble. Their youth employment is high. I'm not going to talk about youth unemployment. Their youth unemployment is high, not youth employment. Youth unemployment is high. And what else? Their GDP figures are sketchy. They're really, really sketchy. They've been talking about growth and all that, but it's not. I don't think it's growing. Their official numbers might say it's growing, their economy is growing, but I don't know. Their GDP is 18 trillion or something like that officially, but many people speculate that China's real GDP is somewhere between $5 trillion and $15 trillion. So it's actually lower than what they're saying. And many people think their GDP is less than $10 trillion and higher than $5 trillion. There was a WikiLeaks article in about 2007 or 2008, something like that, that a senior Chinese government official basically said he does not believe the GDP numbers, official GDP numbers, because and I think the explanation for that is that their state and local governments typically end up inflating their GDP to get promotions, basically. And the problem with China is that only the government is allowed to measure their GDP. No private actors are allowed to measure their GDP. So we have to believe the official government numbers, and those government numbers are definitely implemented, because you can say anything about WikiLeaks, but what you cannot say is their WikiLeaks are liars, or they publish fake information. WikiLeaks has a spotless track record. WikiLeaks is controversial, their intentions are considered controversial by many, but their record is spotless. They never had to retract any of their publications. And one of their publications was China is inflating their GDP numbers. And if you have been on the China rabbit hole on any of the social media, particularly YouTube, you will see that Chinese are building a lot of ghost cities. Ghost cities are properties that people have purchased as an investment, not because they want to live in those properties. And there are many cities that are just completely empty. And real estate is a huge bubble in China. So we don't know. A lot of terrible things are happening in China for their economy. We don't know what their actual GDP is. Don't believe the actual GDP, actual government publication of the GDP. It's fake. It's definitely fake. The question is, how much fake? Is it about $5 trillion? Is it $10 trillion? Somewhere around $10 trillion? Or is it slightly less at about $15 trillion? The GDP numbers might say it's $17 trillion, $18 trillion, or $20 trillion. But the number is somewhere between $5 and $15 trillion. Not more than 15, not less than 5. So a lot of terrible things are happening in China and for the Chinese economy, and we are not getting the truth. Chinese have a strength with their economy when it comes to the supply chains, the mining of minerals, and fast manufacturing, the contract manufacturing stuff. But the GDP the economy is there's a lot of terrible shady stuff that Chinese government is hiding about its economy.